The very first Manitoba Podcast Festival goes down International Podcast Day, Sunday, September 30th, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Park Theatre. Manitoba's podcast community gathers for an afternoon of networking, education, and so much more, featuring local podcast hosts, producers, radio personalities, taking part in panel discussions and Q&As. Take part in this fantastic networking opportunity. You can like us on Facebook at Manitoba Podcast Festival. Tickets are just $5. The very first Manitoba Podcast Festival, Sunday, September 30th at the Park Theatre.
Thank you to everyone who supports my dad's show. If you'd like to support Witchpolice Radio, go to patreon.com/witchpolice today.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I am in a house this time, not the mall or Robin's Donuts or one of those other places I keep ending up in. I'm actually at someone's house, which is an apartment, which is always nice to do that again.
No one else invites you to their house.
No, well, it used to be the first couple years of the show. Every single time I'd be at a house or jam space or something like that, and then for some reason the mall food court just picked up.
It's right on.
And then Robin's Donuts. I've been to 4 different Robin's.
Crazy.
And one of them is now closed.
I was going to say it's the last 4 Robin's Donuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I keep finding them.
Not Tim Hortons?
Yeah.
No, Tim Hortons is busy. Robin's is amazing because it's the reason they close.
Just cops that eat there, right?
There's no one there, and it's quiet, and like they don't care if you sit there for 3 hours. Or you buy one donut and have an interview.
Yeah.
So it's good. But no, it's nice to actually be in a place,
Yeah.
with the couches and things. It's
Don't
cool.
have to buy anything here.
Don't have to
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
So we'll see, I guess, right? But I'm here with 2 quarters or one half?
Yeah,
One half is probably the
one
way to
half,
say that, of Kakagi.
Yeah.
And did I say that? Kakagi.
Kakagi, you did say it right, yeah.
on. I think we've been trying to make this happen for a while.
We messaged you, I think, when our first EP came out,
which
like
was a while
2 years ago,
Yeah.
and then it just never happened.
It never worked out, yeah.
Here we are.
Cool. Well, just to put a name to the voice, maybe if you guys want to introduce yourselves and what you play in the band, and then we can sort of take it from there.
Cool. I'm Jacob, I play guitar and I sing.
I'm Max, and I play drums, and I occasionally sing backup.
Cool. Yeah. And who are we missing?
Jonathan Corbo, who plays bass, and Jesse Popesky, who plays guitar.
Well, and like you just said, I mean, we kind of talked about this when the other EP came out. Mm-hmm. So how long has this actually been a band? Because that was at least a couple of years ago now, I think.
So we've been a band probably like 2.5 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
First EP came out November of 2016. Yeah. And we'd really only been a band for about 2 months before that, really.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And was it all the same members, too?
Yeah.
That started up? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is kind of a weird question, but it seems to be coming up a lot that a lot of people who are in bands that I've interviewed lately have come across their band members in really strange ways. Like, did you guys already know each other before you started this, or was it some audition process? Or
No, Max and I obviously grew up together because we're siblings.
Right?
Yeah. Jesse and I had been playing in bands together since we were like 11.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so we'd known each other for a long time, and
And Jonathan and I have been friends since high school, and
Cool.
also played together for a while.
yeah.
Had any of you been in bands that had any kind of like notoriety or name recognition or anything?
Not really. No.
This is my first band.
Your first band, like overall?
Ever. Yeah.
Cool.
My high school band was called Radiation.
Okay.
And,
Sounds like a high school band name.
Sounds like a high school band name. The songs sound like a high school band.
Yeah.
We were heavily influenced by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
And I don't know what else. Yeah, I don't know. We played for like 6 years. Did a lot of like Academy Coffee House shows
Right on,
kind
right
of
on.
thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Cool. Do any recordings of that band exist, or is that lost forever?
I'm not going to answer that.
Because if they do, I'm going to go find them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's a shoebox of CDs at our parents' house.
Right.
Yes, yeah. There are 80 EPs in our parents' basement.
Just ones you didn't sell? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. I think everyone has that. Everyone's been in a band at some point has a box of CDs, yeah. So the current band, I'm going to just start off with the most annoying question that I hate asking people because they hate answering it, but how do you define what you play? I mean, it sounds like a lot of things to me when I'm listening to it, and I kind of have ideas, but if someone just says, hey, you're in a band, what do you play? How do you...
I mean, we've been saying folk rock for a while.
That's my go-to.
I think, like, genre-wise, it's probably... I mean, what is indie rock? I'm not sure, but people would say indie rock over folk rock. I think I like to say folk rock because it's more like songwritery songs,
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The songs start as like a singer-songwriter style
So
song.
like folk in structure more so.
Exactly.
Than
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we get compared to like Death Cab for Cutie and The Weeknd and Neil
Yeah.
Young and
Well, the Weeknd and Neil Young are the first things that.
yeah, and
the
those
mind,
are
yeah.
those are definitely like heavy influences for us and have been for a very long time.
Forever.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, yeah, folk. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That description of it. Because when you first contacted me, I was like, oh, folk rock, okay. And then it wasn't what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Folk rock was going to be. I mean, I don't know what that even is really, but it's so hard to pin anything down. Right?
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. Would you describe a band like Wilco as folk rock?
Okay, yeah, I can see that,
Sometimes.
yeah,
Maybe, or like Americana country, alt country.
But then they have stuff that's very clearly
Yeah.
more in the rock category. than folk.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, right?
Depends what mood they're in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's. I think it's hard, but I think because we approach the songs generally from like acoustic guitar and voice, and then put that into a band,
Okay.
kind of thing. So I think for that reason,
Yeah.
it would be more folk rock. Whereas I feel like an indie band is more like
More band.
More band, yeah.
Well, I think in a lot of our songs, we try and, like, I can't think of a lot of songs that we haven't played acoustically, right?
Okay.
And stripped down.
Yeah.
And that definitely changes.
Like at a show or just when you're noodling?
Yeah, at a show.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's been a cool because when we're touring. A lot of the better shows are like house concerts and like smaller shows.
Those are the best shows
Yeah.
in general overall of any shows. Really.
Yeah, like the audience is more into it.
Yeah.
You tend to make more money. You know what I mean?
Can't have a full drum set.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right, yeah,
so
yeah.
we've had to sort of relearn a lot of our songs in that context, and that's been actually really kind of good for us. I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do they all work as completely stripped down songs, or are there some of them that you kind of need the full?
There's like a couple you need.
Yeah, I think there's a few that I'm trying to think of, like on like Highway on the new EP probably doesn't really work as an acoustic song. We actually tried it. We were doing pre-production. The producers we worked with Will and Art at Collector Studio,
Okay.
and they produced us as well. So they had some ideas, and we kind of tried it out to do it like more of like an indie show vibe.
Yeah.
And it was cool, but like some songs you just want to rock.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely.
For lack of a better term.
But it's I guess most of them are if you're in a situation where you need to strip them down.
Yeah.
And we also have we have like a set list of our favorites, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm a firm believer in like this is a Jeff Tweedy quote that like every song's got to sound good with an acoustic guitar and a voice.
Right.
You know,
just has to sound good as a stripped down
Exactly.
basic song.
You know,
yeah.
like a good song you can dress up or dress down however you like.
Sure.
And it's kind of
add strings to it, whatever.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So we try and I think strive for that.
Cool.
As much as we can.
Cool.
Yeah.
How does the what is the process of turning the stripped down acoustic singer songwriter stuff into the full band thing? How do they get written? I guess how do they turn from that into the finished product?
So I mean, I write the songs.
Okay.
So I'll usually come up with like lyrics, melody, and chords kind of thing.
Yeah.
Usually I'll bring them to Max first, and him and I will kind of figure out the feel.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I guess it kind of depends on whether or not the drums Jacob hears in his head are the same thing that I hear.
Okay.
And if sometimes it is, and then those songs are written rather quickly.
Yeah.
And if they're not,
we scream at each other.
yeah.
We scream at each other.
That's a little messy.
Yeah. And actually, I should like. There are lots of songs we'll bring to the full band too,
Yeah.
and the four of us will discuss it.
I'd say that's
probably
more recently.
More so, yeah.
What we've been doing, especially for the stuff the new stuff we've written after
Yeah.
the EP, I think has been written more so as a foursome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's sort of, and like we'll usually try stuff out a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
Like try it with the swing, try it in
Yeah, I strive for the swing.
you know half time,
I'll
double
push it
time.
every time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Because that's always an interesting thing, right? It's like, I mean, anyone can take a song and strip it down and do it acoustically, or write it acoustically and bring it to a band. But then the dynamic changes so much once you're adding the instruments.
Always,
to it, right?
always.
So it could either do you feel like the songs get away from the original intention and become something new when you bring them in?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we have one song. So the first song on the EP, Fait Accompli, on the record, it's very much like a sort of like 70s Tom Petty, Ryan Adams kind of like rocker kind of thing. And we do another version of it when we play quieter sets where we played in 3, and it's more of like a ballad, and it's like it totally kind of takes on a whole other
Cool.
whole other life. It's much sadder. But yeah, I mean, I think it's that's the fun part. Is
Right.
like you write the song, you're
Right.
happy with it, whatever, or you hate it, whatever. But then when you bring it to the band, and all of a sudden it has legs. It's like that's where you sort of figure out if it's a keeper or not.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess you hear what the other band members are hearing in it too, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
They kind of illuminate some
Well,
parts
yeah.
of it.
Well, now we've been playing together for so long that each person, they kind of have their, like, not habits, but like they have their things that
Yeah.
kind of we can kind of anticipate each person doing.
Play to each other's strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I say, you know how each other work.
Yeah.
Well, enough at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I can start like writing for specific.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like, I know, like,
makes
Max
sense,
like really lays into this groove or whatever. It's like, let's try and write a song in that groove. Or whatever.
It's not writing a song and there will be drums and bass in it.
Exactly.
This is for this guy's for this.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cut my teeth in North Dakota. I broke my back 12 hours a day. I grew up fast, I met a girl in Minnesota. Never learned how to love, but I learned to pay. My TV screen, I'm hell-bent with gasoline. I fell asleep to a modern dream of copper wire and concrete dust, a snowfall for the rest of us. Let's try to make it worse than it seems. I'm just trying to find the dream. Ages passed and I found myself deserted, like the scene of a crime when it's all cleaned up. I can count on my hands all the lies that I'd blurted. Like I'm giving up. Me, I'm not thick enough. I'm brittle, and the days are rough. I'm going now, since the going got tough. Tires, sing summer songs. I'd lose myself since I'm not that strong. I don't know where I went wrong. She's long since left me. I've long left the Bakken Ridge. Government checks, they don't go so far. I didn't vote with my conscience, I voted with my empty fridge. Doesn't define who we are. For us as a memory, and we're dormant like a winter tree. We'll make it, since we have to be. For us, and we always do, we're fickle, we're without a clue. We'll waste another chance on you. We'll waste another
terrible question that people don't like answering. But
Great setup.
it is, well, because I don't want to disappoint you, right? Yeah. I feel like it is really important, just for me anyway, because there's so many local bands. There's so many different subgenres and scenes and sub-scenes and all this stuff. Like, where do you think you guys fit in locally? Because, I mean, the folk rock thing can be misleading where, you could potentially fit in with, there's a massive folk scene right here in the city, but then the rock edge to it, kind of, maybe you don't. Like, so do you think there's kind of a group of bands, maybe, that you sort of have a kinship with, that, whether you sound exactly like them or not, you know what I mean? Like,
well, we love playing with the Lucas Roger Band when they
Yeah, the Lucas Roger Band, I'd say,
play.
would be like, if we had like band Soulmates, it would be those guys.
But that's more leaning towards the folk side of things, right? Like,
no, this is his side project.
Okay,
it's like,
I don't think I've heard of them yet. No.
It's like arena rock.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Nice.
That's
awesome.
it's like he writes great songs.
He has good songs, for sure.
I remember we did a show with him and Kieran West and that and that was a wonderful show.
But I mean, I think that's kind of been a thing for us in general, is like figuring that out, because it's hard. Because Winnipeg, you're right. It's Winnipeg has so many micro scenes,
broken up so many pieces.
And in each one of those micro scenes is like maybe 8 people but 10 bands.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a very Winnipeg thing.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And we don't. I don't say we really belong in any of them particularly, but we kind of have our feet kind of dipped into a bit of each one. I'll go out sometimes and play solo and do more like the folk thing.
Yeah.
Or we've played rock shows with louder bands than us. We've also been the loudest band on the bill. So it's
I don't know. That's a great
question. That's why it's a shitty question, because a lot of people, some bands, it's very obvious where they fit in. They know they play the same bands every week.
Yes.
It's this little scene, but there's a lot of people, you're definitely not the only local band that is kind of floating around, right? And it's hard to put down. So,
I would say, I think we probably, in terms of scenes, in bars, we probably fit in best at the Times.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But even then, sometimes I feel like we're not country enough.
But that gets super rootsy, right?
Exactly, yeah. And we don't, we don't do really the rockabilly thing, or a whole lot of flat
straight up blues.
Yeah. So it's it's hard, but I think also for us, we're still how we sound is still pretty fluid. We haven't really settled on one kind of,
even after 4 years of
not really.
Well, it's changed.
It changes,
and as we've developed as musicians, personally, I can't play the way that I could when we started. Mm-hmm. So I think that's everyone's gotten better. So that's, I think, influenced how we play.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that was one thing I like about playing in this band, is that aside from Jesse, who's a classically trained guitar player and
that helps to have someone like that in your band, I guess.
Can literally play anything, and someone will be like, "What key's the song in?" And I'll be like, "Oh, it's in B," and he'll be like, "No, it's actually it's an E," or whatever. So it's good to have one person like that. But other than him, I'd say all three of us, me, Max, and Jonathan, are all still nowhere near as good as we could or maybe should be at our instruments. So it's kind of nice to get better together.
I actually think that's a good thing, though. I played in bands where I would be you guys in that version, and two other guys. Last band I was in, there's three of us. I was playing guitar and singing, and the other two guys bass and drums, and they were both incredible musicians. Just super. One of them is crazy, highly trained and everything, and it was good because I could just do whatever. Yeah, and they would be like, okay, well here's. I write some terrible song, and they'd be like, "Oh, we can just add this to it," and then it sounds amazing.
Exactly,
it's playing chord. I don't even know what chord this is. I'm just playing something, and so it's always nice to have a mix. I think if everyone is too technical and too highly trained, it almost doesn't work sometimes because everyone's playing on top of each other, right?
I think so, and then there's no point in practicing,
right?
Right, and then it's just you circulate the chart the day before the show. And everyone shows up and you nail it. And there's a lot of great bands in Winnipeg that do that and do it really well.
We can't do that,
but we can't. So you got to put in the hours, and I think there's something else that comes out of sort of just slogging it out.
Yeah. You all get better together at what you're doing too. Right?
Exactly.
You're so meshed with That's cool. So the new EP, this is how new is it at this point?
Came out almost less than a month ago. Yeah, July 13th.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and then
almost a month. Or a month fully, probably.
Yeah.
Is this This is the second EP. Is it also the second release for you?
Yeah.
Why EPs?
It's a good question, actually. So we were planning on doing a record. We went to Collector with the intention of doing the record. We recorded 9 songs, and then we kind of realized that we weren't really necessarily ready to do a proper. We wanted to take it seriously and try to make a run for it. Sure. So it's to do a proper quote unquote release cycle on a record. Maybe we weren't ready for it, in terms of both availability and ability and just knowledge of industry things. You know what I mean?
Like do all the extra stuff, right?
All the admin work and you know, all the planning and prep that goes into that. So we figured if we split what we have as a record into 2 EPs, it allows us to, I mean, fail twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like try it out. Like
I mean, that sounds bad, but I know exactly what you're saying.
Right? Like make mistakes and have it not matter because it's just an EP.
Right. You have another one coming out.
Anyway, and then we'll make a record in a year, and like we've got the songs for that, and then we'll be ready for that. But it's like let's get more tour dates under our belt.
Yeah,
and you know, just like
make more contacts.
So when we are like pitching our record to people,
you're not shipping something. You're not trying to like sell them on something that's 4 years old by that point.
Exactly, and we like have a bit of like a resume, to be like we've actually done touring and that kind of.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I think is the hardest part for a lot of bands is that it's not how it used to be, right? You have to now be not only the creative part of things, you have to do the marketing, you have to do there's so much other stuff you have to do that just kind of is not what you want to be doing when you start a band. You want to play music, right? You don't want to have to deal with all. You know,
oh my god, yeah. I practiced guitar for the first time in like 2 weeks today. Because I was just like, I'm not opening up my emails. I'm just not doing it.
You gotta be tour managers. You gotta do all that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's also like, I don't know. I kind of also feel that it's like, what a privilege. To do this. And to like have anyone give a shit. You know what I mean? Am I allowed to swear?
It's podcast.
All right, I guess. All right. Too late anyway. You know, so it's like if we're gonna do this, and if we're gonna like take time off work, and like you know not get like accounting degrees or whatever, you know, like. We should put in the work anyway. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be like you just write the songs and play them and you're making money and famous. Like you should have to put in the work.
Sure.
And also I think for every tour that we end up like successfully booking, it kind of gives you that little bit more motivation to do the next one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, because like you're doing something.
Yeah.
You know?
And someone's buying your stuff at the show or they like it in whatever city.
Or like the bartenders, you know, like sympathetically buying one T-shirt because no one showed up or whatever.
And then maybe next time you go, you'll be wearing that T-shirt.
Exactly.
Right? And then you feel like you've accomplished. Sure.
I helped you move into your first apartment. I helped your landlord with all the fuss. I brought you your first set of plastic dishes. I brought you forks and knives, and now they've begun to rust. I was warm when the streets were icy. I had thin gloves and thinner toques. Never once was I accused of being pricey. Never once did I insist you lay down roots. Who's gonna light your way when streetlights don't do your street justice? Who's gonna feed you when your paycheck doesn't clear? All my neighbors, they can finally take their blinds down, but honestly, I don't want to disappear. No, I don't want to disappear. I was there before the bike lanes got so bitter. I watched you wandering back and forth. I saw the sudden swarm of sushi places. I saw the condos marching north. Who's to say I lost touch with the season? Who's to say I'm past my prime? All my neighbors say there's no one left to reason with. Honestly, I don't want to be out of time. The clerks, they say good riddance. Ask the shelves. I helped you move into your first apartment. I introduced you to the way. We long for left behind, long left over. It's such a shame I couldn't stay. When they come for me, they'll take my village with them. When they come, you mustn't cry. All my neighbors say it's time for a new vision, but honestly, I don't know how to say goodbye. No, I don't know how to say. Don't just stand there.
And touring, I think specifically, is one thing where you can like actually really see the results. Like our first tour was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really fun, but like, you know, obviously no one's
had no idea.
Where did you go?
We went west.
Okay.
Yeah, we did like 9 dates out west, and then we did a mini tour last winter out west again, and it was just like booking it was a breeze.
Yeah.
And like we knew the bands we wanted to play with, and like
But it was so cold.
it was really cold.
It was so cold.
Loading the van in the cold was not
Yeah,
a great experience, but it's like we had people at the shows.
Yeah, you have a name that people will recognize.
Because
yeah,
we had done it, and at least like the audience didn't know us, but the bands we were playing with knew us.
Right. So but they're going to tell people too.
Exactly.
Like, oh, check out this band from Winnipeg. Yeah.
So it's like it's cool that you can actually kind of like see progress.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of the time it's a lack of progress.
Well, and it's not really measurable in the city too, right?
Exactly.
Because I mean, you're playing shows, sure, but it could be with your friends or the bands that you play with. They're your friends too, and their friends are coming, and it's like, hey, people are at the show, but would they come if they didn't know you, right? It's hard, you never know. It's hard.
And like bringing out a crowd in Winnipeg is such a crapshoot, right? Cause
right.
It's
Winnipeg.
It's dependent on so many factors, and we definitely learned that like the crowd fatigue thing this year. We like
you played too many shows.
We played way too many shows, and by the end it was just like no one cared. We're like, all right, we overdid it.
Oh, at least you figured out, like, at least you recognized that, right? I think a lot of people will do that for 20 years.
Yeah, well, because at first you're just like, they want us to play? Of course we'll play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You want to play a show when someone's offering you to, for sure. Yeah. So, another one of these kind of weird questions about the maybe isn't a good one either, but I like asking it, is, were there local bands that you guys came up listening to? Like, I mean, were there bands that kind of, you would see them live when you're a teenager or whatever, and be like, oh, I can do this? Like, was there someone that kind of sparked that for you, or?
Yeah, like a few. I'm trying to. I was really into Greg McPherson in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember I was introduced to him at a the first time I heard him was at a live show, and like he's amazing.
Yeah, he's very good live.
Oh my god. And I just remember thinking like, who is this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, like when we talk about guys that can just like read a chart and know the songs, so like guys like Ariel and Joey Landreth.
Yeah.
And the whole scene that kind of surrounded those guys.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. We're a bunch of bands.
All those bands, like we were, at least Jesse and I in high school, were always going to those shows.
Cool.
I don't know.
I was completely oblivious to the Winnipeg music scene.
Really?
When I was 18, yeah.
How did you get it? What was the entry point for you?
I went, my high school, like, the kids in my grade didn't go out.
Okay.
At least certainly not to the places where shows were happening. And then I went to Guelph for a year.
Okay.
And I moved back, and then we started this band, and then I'm like, oh, Winnipeg's a great place to live.
So this wasn't even it wasn't only your first band, it was your first intro to the
I'd never been to the Cavern until we played there.
Okay.
Or the Daughter, actually, or any of the venues.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
You're coming into completely fresh, right? I mean, most people have, like we said earlier, everyone's in each other's bands, everyone's just kind of recycled so many times over.
Well, and it completely caught me off guard how, like, nice and amazing and welcoming everyone is.
Yeah.
Because, like, to me, just, like, in my naive, I'm in a band now, and a music scene, like, to me, it's kind of like everyone's kind of gunning to make it somehow. So, like,
So it
could be really cutthroat and competitive, and then everyone's, like, super helpful and awesome.
It's cool.
And, it's the best.
I lived in Toronto for a while, and definitely experienced that, like, cutthroat competitiveness out there. But yeah, here that just doesn't really exist the same way.
I think if there is, it's kind of more underground. People aren't saying it outright.
It's more passive aggressive.
Totally.
People just sit in the winter and
It's way more subtle.
spew bad about each other.
People are like making voodoo dolls the other day.
It exists in DMs and
totally,
closed Facebook groups.
Exactly, Well, I'm sure there are some. Wouldn't be surprised.
But no one. I mean. And I mean, also guys like I went to school with a guy like Mike Ehrenberg.
Okay,
Him and I have been friends for a long time, but like even just like seeing him and how hard he works.
Yeah, he's doing awesome.
And how devoted he is to his work. Like that was definitely like a sort of a bit of the kick in the pants for me when I started to be like, I want to do this for real now. It's like, well, he's already been doing it for 5 years. What have you been doing?
He's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's doing really well actually.
Very well.
Awesome.
Yeah. And his stuff's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So, I mean, that was definitely a big thing for us. I'm trying to think of other local bands.
I guess part of the reason I like to ask the question is because just like over the course of doing this, I've been doing this for almost 6 years now, right? So there's a lot of bands I'm talking to, obviously. Yeah. And just trying to place people kind of on a timeline to where they're coming from, right? Because I mean, I've been going to shows since I was like 12, and like that's a while back now. That was like 95 or 94 or something. And like sometimes I was talking to people who weren't even born in 94, or someone who's like 30 years older than me. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah. So like the Great Big First thing makes sense. Yeah. Some of those other bands you guys mentioned, like it's always interesting to see where people are kind of coming from, because a lot of the time, I mean, especially with younger bands, they'll talk about some band they love, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is. Like, it's just completely over my head. So it's cool. It's cool that the different entry points for people.
It was a thing for me too. Like when I lived in Toronto, I was like obsessed with like creeping the Winnipeg music scene on the internet, and it was like I like spent so much time on my computer, like looking at like show events and stuff. I guess because I was just like I felt like I was missing out, but also like just wanted to see what was going on. And that was a bit. That was like when like those guys like Mike was coming up and like Living Hour was getting together. Like all the bands that are like really doing it now.
So it's like what, early 2000s kind of.
No, this would have been like I moved to Toronto in 2010.
Okay,
I moved back in 2015. So this would have been like 20 like right around when like when it was still like the Rosenby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the Goodwill and the Daughter were just starting to open, kind of thing.
Cool.
I'm rambling now, but
no, it's good. It's good. The rambling's good.
It's a podcast.
Yeah, it helps to place it though, right? I mean, just right, the timeline. Yeah, that's cool.
Like a spoke I broke and tried to break down.
So with the EP, now that it's out, this is all self-released as far as I can tell. Yeah. What is your plan with this? I mean, you're going back on tour again shortly after we record this, right? And what are you hoping to accomplish with this? Because I know it's kind of, you said you have the 2 EPs rather than a full length. And so what's the kind of ultimate goal with this thing? And what do you want?
You want me to take this one?
I'm stumped.
I think for us it's like,
is it to get to the next point, which is the full length, or
okay. We've pretty much got the full length written, and we've got a plan for when we're going to make it, and all that. And I think right now it's sort of like, let's just get our name out as much as possible. Sure. Let's get content out as much as possible, and that's the thing with EPs. Like, so we're going to put out another one in January. So it's just like we're just kind of churning it out. You know what I mean?
I mean, but this is the longest tour we've ever gone on as a band, so I think this is like a little bit of a trial run to see. Well, 20 days in a van is a lot different than 10 days in a van.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we're still friends after. I think we're going
I think that's a good point. But basically, this whole next year is like, in our heads, we're like, no, we're going to do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? We want to be a working touring band, but it's like, let's actually find out if
it works.
If we're good enough to do it, if we like it enough to do it, if we're, all those things.
Because I mean, like on the last tour, mainly because of the heat wave, like there were times when I was sitting in the van, I was like, I just need to get out of this fucking car. Get in a bed and not sleep on a floor tonight. But that obviously didn't happen.
We were in Ontario in July, and it was like, for me too, that was the first time I was like, I would rather be at home. Like, I would rather skip this show, which is a weird place to be, because usually I'm obsessed with attention.
Well, and after getting all the hype up, we'll go on tour and everything.
Exactly.
But I mean, you have those like dark van hours for like 2 to 3. You're just sitting there in silence. And someone looks at you the wrong way, and it's gonna be bad. But then you get out. You have like a pee, a meal. Everything kind of resets.
Well, I know exactly which moment you're talking about. We're driving from Sault Ste. Marie to Thunder Bay, and it was like super hot. And Max and Jonathan are both under 25, so it's just way too expensive to insure. We rent vans,
right?
We don't own one. So it's just too expensive to insure them to drive,
right?
Nor do I have any desire to drive.
So half the band can't drive.
So half the band can't drive, which is fine, because I mean, our longest drive is like 16 hours. But like Jesse and I like driving, and like at least with 2 people you can switch off. It's not terrible. But I think it's probably worse to not drive. Honestly.
I can see that.
Because there's no, I break up my day by driving and not driving.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas like these guys just have to sit back there,
and hang out, and
like you're
wait.
sitting, and wait. Yeah, exactly. And like there's one moment Max was like, guys, I really need to pull over. And I was like, we're like 45 minutes from Thunder Bay. We're just going to keep going. Because it's like, it's driver's rules. Right? It's like, we pee when the driver wants to pee. And then I was being obnoxious. I gave Max a little tap on the leg and just like clocked me right in the And then we were like, angry silence for 20 minutes.
You still played the show, presumably?
No, it was fine. And like after 20 minutes, we're like, okay, I feel good now. But it was like, just too long in the van.
I mean, you just can't touch me if I'm sweating that much. I lose my mind.
And I was just being a jerk. But,
But then, that's got to be tough. I mean, the farthest I ever went on tour, quote unquote, would be Brandon. So I never really experienced the full on like touring thing. But I mean, I can't imagine, especially if it's your first one too, and you're trying to kind of figure out, just everything about it is all totally new.
To me, I think the scariest thing about touring, and like we are by no means veterans. We've done, I think, 3 tours. We're about to do our 4th. But to me, the scariest thing is that for so long in my head, I have imagined that like my dream is to be in a touring band. Right. And then, but that's very different. How you idealize in your head to the actual practice of doing it.
Sure.
And it's like, oh my God, what if I don't like this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like my entire identity is like predicated on this idea of what I think I love.
Right.
But what if I don't actually like it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that and
then it becomes like a chore to do. And
well, and then it's like, well, then now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So like to me, I think that's where the most of my anxiety comes from on the road is like, am I having fun? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, am I having a good time? Like, is this fun? Like, are we all having fun? Yeah.
And then if it's not, what happens, right? Like, what's
exactly, and like, how do you deal with it? And what happens if that happens on like day 3 of 20?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, how do you make it through the next 17 days?
Yeah. It's a long time to be miserable. And a lot of shows to play.
Definitely. So when does the tour actually start? I mean, it might be already over by the time this comes out, but...
August 31st, we leave?
No, we leave September 2nd.
So you're basically gone for all of September?
All of September. We leave on the 2nd.
On August 31st.
Yeah, the show of the daughter.
Whoops.
We leave it on the 2nd, we're back on the 25th.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Mostly interior BC and Vancouver Island and stuff.
And have you been that far west before? Or
no, furthest we've been is Nelson, so this would be a first for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Are you
super
just
excited.
touring, just you guys, or do you have other bands that are also joining you in any of this?
Like just the four of us touring, but like most of our shows are with other like local bands.
Cool.
I have some friends out in Vancouver and Vancouver Island that are
helps,
hopping
yeah.
on the bill. Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
But yeah, it's the first long one for sure.
Cool.
Probably too long.
Yeah, well,
We'll see.
I guess
We'll
it's a test, like you're saying.
It's a test. Yeah, I mean, most people I talk to, they're like, yeah, 2 weeks is pretty much the sweet spot. After that,
You want to kill each other.
you hate it. Yeah, so we'll find out.
Well, I think like going into like BC and having it be like so beautiful will be a nice kind of like buffer.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
it's the thing about Ontario. It's just I lived there for a long time, but it's so muggy and like populated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
well, when you're used to driving the prairies too, it's
Yeah.
right? Because
There's just people everywhere and traffic and like it's less.
40 degrees.
It was just uncomfortable.
Okay, so with this EP,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be on tour. You're going to have this EP. You're going to be selling the EP.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you get sick of these songs? I mean, I'm assuming you're going to be playing them.
Oh, like
every night.
4 months ago.
Yeah. Are they already like? Are you already kind of thinking like, oh, this is old stuff. We don't sound like this anymore? Has that already happened? Or?
I wouldn't say that. Definitely, though, if this is old stuff. Maybe not. We don't sound like this anymore. Like,
But at the same time, I think we've evolved past these songs.
Yeah.
And I think we do have a bit of a different style now.
Yeah.
That I don't know how to explain. So come to our show and find out.
Right, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
But it's different. I feel different playing the new songs than I do with this stuff.
And this EP is interesting. Like, so a song like Highway was one of the first songs that we put together as a band. That song's like probably 2.5, 3 years old.
Right. Yeah.
Fait Accompli and Stay Up Late are 6 months old, tops. I wrote them in the fall.
Okay.
And we recorded them basically right after I wrote them.
Yeah.
So it's like a pretty.
And Election Night. Or Election Night.
No, Election Night. And Election Night and Eds are from last spring.
Yeah.
But none of them are new. Like they're all
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we've got new stuff that will be on the record.
Have you changed the way you play these older ones to sort of suit the way your style has changed up to this point? Or are they still sort of this is how they sound? I'm gonna play like this.
I think we play the same forms. We probably just play them better.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say.
Better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
Like we know our spots now, and like
Yeah.
when like it's whose turn to kind of
Sure.
take the spotlight.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So if people are hearing you for the first time on this podcast, what's the best thing for them to do to find out more? Whether they want to look for tour dates or hear this record or find out where they can buy it.
KakagiMusic.com.
Okay.
It's got all of our info at Kakagi Music.
Cool.
Will
I'll apply.
be any of our social media stuff that will inevitably send them to our website.
Okay. Awesome.
But yeah.
And is this is the previous EP out as well? Is it
Yeah.
available
Yeah.
for people to check out?
Yeah, both are on like all the Spotify,
Cool.
iTunes, Apple Music, and Bandcamp.
Okay. Awesome. So they're pretty widely
Yeah.
available. Cool. All right, well, yeah, if people want to hear more episodes of this show, you can go to witchpolice.com. You can hear all 300 and whatever episodes for free download and streaming whenever you want. You can also tune in on Sunday nights at midnight to UFM, and those are kind of older episodes that get a second wind. So, it's maybe 3 or 4 months after it was originally recorded. It airs at midnight on Sunday on Quad 1.5. So it's, you can always download them anytime, but if you happen to be tuning in, I don't know why you wouldn't. It's a perfect time to listen to the radio.
100%, yeah.
Then you get it there. And I mean, Witchpolice is obviously on all the social media. You type in Witchpolice, you're probably going to find this.
Yeah.
It's kind of an unusual word, so
Yeah.
it usually does it. But yeah, that's the show there. So thanks again for having me. This is
Oh, great. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I live online when I feel alone. Sometimes I find myself seeking empathy from my phone. I get distracted, I fade out of thought. I live online when I feel alone. I think I ask too much. I get worked up and worn out when I ask too much. It's gonna run you out. I get so tired when I read the news. My anger fills the space of the grace that I gently lose. I scream from high roads make each other mean. I get so tired when I read the news. I think I ask too much. I get worked up and worn out. I don't try to ask too much. If it runs you out, you can call me the saint. I wasn't made to be sweeter. Call me the faint felt fog that your mind's filled up with in the afternoon. Call me like rain, my whole brain like a theater, where you sit with your same soul smirk that you wore on that day. I stay up late when you're not here. I lie awake and make my mind stop switching gears. I don't do dishes. I don't sweep the floor. I stay up late when you're not here. I think we all ask too much. We get worked up and worn out when we all ask too much. It's gonna run you out until we're all run out. Can we survive worn out?